Sports on O Radio with Gio, Matt, and AJ.
What's going on?
Yeah.
All right. So we've got the college football playoffs coming up, right? The aim of this podcast really is to talk about upcoming events in sports. That's a really big one that's coming up. So we've got our top four, which no one agrees with at all.
It's a great top four. I mean, TCU in at the 3 spot with Ohio State at the 4. It makes sense. Ohio State comes in as an 11-1 team. TCU comes in as an 11-1 team, but losing a championship game. Yeah, give them that. So it's like Michigan at 2, got respect. Georgia, the dominant force up the whole season.
Georgia,
it's what it is.
Wiping the floor with everyone.
I mean, we saw it happen to Tennessee, and Tennessee beat Bama convincingly early in the season.
Yeah.
LSU as well later on in the season, just last week.
Exactly. Even though LSU did kind of hold their own at one point, it's just they took off and it was just.
They definitely did. Some controversy coming out of that is Stetson Bennett being the same age as Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
who won the Heisman or was a Heisman finalist in 2014?
I believe so. 2017.
2017. I don't know.
Check it.
So, with this, that's a 6-year plan. They were both born in '97, and you think, what's going on with him with pro aspirations? Do you think that college or pro coaches see him as kind of a man among boys, or what's the thought process there?
I feel like it just gives him more experience. Obviously with redshirt and COVID year, give him an extra year probably, but I feel like that shouldn't judge him because he's still balling out, even though he's playing with 5 stars on the offense side and the defense side. He's gonna get ball them.
For sure. And then we've also got Georgia's got an absolutely stacked lineup. That third string tight end early on in the year got his first start was hurdling people.
Yeah, it was insane.
And that's their third string, right? So Georgia obviously has a very stacked roster.
Yeah, a lot of depth.
A lot of depth to their roster. Kirby is definitely living up to his name, playing very smart football this year. And I think they're definitely our favorites for this 2-piece back-to-back championship.
I don't see it back-to-back.
You don't see it back-to-back?
You see winning.
So who do you think? Yeah.
I feel like Georgia will be there, but also Michigan will be there.
Michigan. All right.
Because Michigan versus TCU, it'll be a good game for sure. But I think with Max Darling at quarterback, TCU is going to really give a fight, like he said. But it's just Michigan is stacked.
Yeah, I don't think TCU's making it out of the first. But that's why, again, I think there needs to be more depth to these college football playoffs, right? And we know in the 2024 season they're moving to a 12-team tournament, but just 4 teams, right? It doesn't really give a lot of opportunity for upsets. Right, and then obviously the controversy with our rosters. But no, I think TCU had a very good season. Do I think they should be in the top 4? Still no. I'm still questionable with that. Yeah, because we've got, teams like Clemson, teams like Alabama, right, who have lost. Yes, Alabama lost twice for the first time in too long. But TCU have played some of these like farm schools in Midwestern U.S. It was like
who are they?
Teams? Yeah.
But is that their fault though? Like that's just the scheduling.
It's not the schedule, but does it prove how good they really are?
Exactly.
Since they haven't played against like crazy competition.
But that's why they're in this to say, and it gives them a chance to show we're supposed to be here, or maybe we're not ready yet.
I guess we'll find out.
True. Yeah, we'll find out, and we need a little break from both Clemson and Alabama being in the playoffs. The first year without either of those teams in the college football playoffs ever, right? So it is a very historical college football playoffs.
It is.
I mean, I'll keep telling Clemson out. Wait till next year.
I'm not saying they're out. I'm just saying they're not in this year.
Watch next year. That 12 team, Clemson will be in a dogfight from probably I'd say 8th seed at worst, 6th seed at best. Saying everything goes well. If you have an exceptional season, Cade goes off like he did in his few starts this year. I mean, it might be the 1st or 2nd seed going to it. So, but the Heisman race, I don't know if Caleb Williams should be in that.
You don't think so? Why?
Caleb, Max, Hendon Hooker, I believe, and one of the quarterback.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
I don't think that Caleb is the Heisman winner this year.
Maybe not the winner, but I think he should be like competitive for it.
Well, yeah, he should be competitive for it, but I think he goes to Hendon Hooker from Tennessee. I mean, the guy
Why? Why do you think that?
he balled out against Alabama, and he had it. Obviously everyone's struggling with Georgia, so you can't really hold it against him. But if you look at before the ACL injury,
Hendon Hooker's not in. He's not a finalist.
Well, he's like the 5th or 6th.
I think he's the 5th because we've got Caleb Williams, C.J. Stroud, Max Duggan, and Stetson Bennett. So really, we've got 3 of 4 of the Heisman finalists are playoff team quarterbacks.
I think that Stetson Bennett is the one guy that shouldn't be in this talk because you gotta look at the competition he has, like the players he has around him as receivers and running backs. He's not really doing much of the work. In reality, he's just as long as you get in their area, it's a catch.
Yeah, he's. We were talking earlier about the depth of Georgia's roster. No matter who you put on the field on the Georgia team, the Bulldogs have an absolutely great recruiting program, and you've seen that in the last few years, right? So Stetson Bennett being there just as a catalyst for that offense doesn't necessarily show how incredible he is. Obviously, he's a very good player. Should he be a Heisman finalist? I'm not sure.
I think he should be in the top 10.
Top 10
for sure.
Not.
I could see top 5. I could see top 5.
I could see that. He's undefeated as a starter. Last year took Georgia to national title. You gotta give him the respect, guys. He's a baller.
You got it, yeah.
But is he the Heisman?
No, he's not.
I don't think he's the Heisman, but I think he should be in top 5.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So we're ruling out Stetson Bennett, right? All right. So we've got Max Duggan, C.J. Stroud, and Caleb Williams.
C.J. Stroud, I gotta say, I don't think
C.J. Stroud.
I mean, like what happened against Michigan. The guy put up stats on stats against every other team except for Michigan.
Michigan blew out Ohio State. It was what, 47? 23? Yeah, I think something like that.
It was something, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I don't know. C.J. Stroud, definitely there, right? And he was one of our preseason favorites for this award. We got C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams, we were talking about earlier. Maybe.
I mean, he's a magician in the pocket. Let's figure out
he is, and his rushing game is supreme.
Jalen Hurts level, yeah.
The problem is we saw earlier this week when he got injured and we couldn't resort to his rushing game, how much USC struggled with that, right? So if he's kind of a one-trick pony like that, but as you said, man can work some magic in the pocket.
I mean, he's probably been sacked like once or twice per game, and I mean with the offensive line he has around him, it's kind of surprising. I think it was Notre Dame. He has like 3 Irish defenders around him. He gets out of it, and you just see a dot thrown. I believe it was Jordan Addison or Jay Rice's son. It was just
fantastic. He's got some great receivers downfield for him as well. And then lastly, we've got our odd man out. We've got Max Duggan.
Max Duggan, he's a dog. Let's be real.
It's good.
Like, you take a TCU team, no one expected anything near this. Maybe top 25 in the college football playoff poll, but nothing this good. You're thinking, okay, he's going to get something going. But
yeah, but you also see he wasn't the starting quarterback at the beginning of this year.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
No,
the guy
it goes on to show. I mean, man was beat out by Chandler Morris in the offseason, right, as a starter, right? And Morris got injured. How far into the season?
But
in the first game. So Morris got in the offseason, got beat out, got injured in the first game. Max Duggan right now has over 3,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's
Heisman numbers right there. Yeah.
Those are Heisman numbers.
See, it's just like getting injured and filling that role. It just proves how well that he can fill that role and he can be competitive in space.
Well, yeah. Well, he's a 3-year starter, right? And he got beat out this year by Morris.
Which surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, but listen, obviously he showed this is my position, right?
Yeah.
And here he's got TCU in the Final Four, right, in the college football championship playoffs. So he's definitely one of our stronger contenders. So what do we think it's between Duggan and Stroud?
I feel like it's gonna be between Duggan and Stroud. Like none of these other quarterbacks. Actually, no. I feel like it's gonna be, as much as I don't want to say it, Caleb and Stroud, just because they're both great passers. They're both great quarterbacks. But when it comes to like certain games, when you really look at it, you're like, were they really the best one in that game? Not just as a quarterback, but as a player on their team. Obviously, I have receivers putting up 100 and 200-yard games, running backs, same thing.
I think one of the only two that I'm confident in saying that are the best ones on their team is Caleb Williams and CJ Stroud.
I don't know. Caleb Williams is not the best one on his team.
You don't think so?
I think he is. I think because look, he's got
one name, and you guys can agree or disagree. Marvin Harrison Jr. That man is a catching machine. He has the most receiving yards without a single drop. And that's over 1,000 yards. So think about it. You mean you have 1,000-yard receiver, 0 drops, and probably one of the craziest catches of all time?
Yeah. Hey, we didn't see the catch again that Army made a few weeks back. That was a one-handed grab.
Army throws the ball.
Army sometimes
throws the ball. Yeah.
It's very, very rarely do they throw the ball. I can't wait actually to see them maybe throw the ball this weekend. America's game.
Let's not say that.
America's game.
I think the Orange Bowl is America's game.
The Orange Bowl? What is the Orange Bowl this year?
Clemson versus Tennessee. I think this match we all want to see. I mean, yeah.
I'll do some ASMR.
What do you think the matchup of the game, like the matchup of the weekend is?
There's no other games.
Yeah, there's no other games.
Like the matchup of this weekend.
I think it's Army Navy. Yeah.
But like for bowl games.
Yeah, that's a hard question. Who do you think it is?
I'm sticking with.
He says Orange
Bowl. All right, I can see that.
I mean,
I think actually it's the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Who's playing that one?
Ohio, Wyoming.
Oh wow. So.
Bobcats. Oh yeah. I mean, that could be a good game.
That should be a good game. I feel like the fans will be more entertaining with the Barstool.
I don't know. I feel like the Barstool game is going to be a little underperforming at first. It's going to be a high defensive game, but towards the end, you might see a few touchdown passes.
I think low scores in that game.
I say nothing over 30.
Right. 30 is still pretty high, but
I mean 30 is high, but like for as long as it is.
I think we've got all right. What do we have? Yeah, our Orange Bowl is going to be a great game. I know, Gio, you probably have Clemson coming on top.
Honestly, I've been debating this.
It is. I think it is the most orange bowl we've ever had.
Oh, for sure.
Tennessee's going to be wearing orange. Clemson's going to be wearing orange. It's the Orange Bowl.
Clemson be going with the white jersey on top, orange pants, and Tennessee, I believe, is going to be going in reverse.
I believe so, yeah.
I think so.
I think that's going to be a very offensive-minded game.
I don't think so. I think it's more defensive.
You think so? Why? I
mean, Clemson always has a good defense. You can't say that. Tennessee's defense is pretty good. I think what the receivers that Clemson has, they're not really developed into the T. Higgins and the Justin Rosses that we had in the past. So I think it's going to be a defensive game in the first half, but when offenses start to click in the second, that's when we're going to start seeing the touchdowns.
I think it's going to be opposite. I think Clemson might come out with a stronger offense to try to combat Tennessee's better defense.
You could be right. Tennessee definitely has a better defense playing in the SEC, but the ACC,
you win games by scoring points.
Exactly, defense just hold the points off.
I think a lot of these offenses are going to come out firing on all cylinders, right? We're going to have a very high scoring first half. I think the defenses for both of these teams are going to have to learn throughout the course of the game how to, grind these offensive down, right? But I think we can expect a very high scoring game. All right, so we are at the end of our first half. We'll be back. So
let's go.
And we're back. Yesterday we had a few matchups for sports yesterday for Austin. We had varsity basketball taking on Ramapo, and we had the wrestling team at
Carmel.
I feel like that was definitely a good one. But if you were here for the OHS versus Ramapo, you definitely saw something special in that first I think quarter, first 2 minutes of it.
Yeah, break it down. What we see first period?
First period, obviously, we got the ball thanks to Dominic. He passed it to, I believe, Isaiah. Then we shot at 3, got that easy first 2 points. Next, we have aging in the steal, passing to Jaden. Obviously, we knew something special was going to happen when he was in front of him. He throws on a monstrous dunk, and Austin takes it with a 79-56 win, I believe. What happened out of Carmel?
So down in Carmel, the wrestling team took on the Carmel wrestling team, and ended up in a tie. Judges had to go to this tough decision. It was split between the coaches and the ref, and we ended up losing the meet. But it's all right. We'll get it back next time.
Mm.
We're seeing it again on Saturday, so.
Yeah, that's good. Also, about the future of our fall varsity sports, I feel like we don't really show them a lot of love out of the season. All of our sports are out of season. So I think we should just start off with football. Like, what are you thinking for varsity football next year? Obviously, we had a few tough losses.
Well, more than a few, I'd say.
Yeah,
Quite a few tough losses.
Definitely a heartbreaker against Mount Vernon. A few injuries.
Yeah. Losing a homecoming game again.
Hey, it's nothing new. But a few injuries coming out of it, with me and Jiraiya, definitely momentum shifters right there. But
yeah.
I think next year we should be able to compete. Maybe not for state, maybe not for playoffs, but I think we can compete definitely in the division.
Think so? Because you're losing a lot of seniors next year too. So how do you think your team's gonna perform?
I mean, obviously losing seniors is definitely the worst part of the season, especially for someone that's been on it for the past 2 years. Losing seniors from my sophomore year and my junior year, it's hard to do. But reality is it's not. You have to work with what you have. Obviously I'm going in with a great backfield of me and Anthony, but there's just more to sort out than that. The offensive line, the defensive line is always good. Secondary is, I think, a main cause for concern.
Think so?
Yeah, I mean, we have Tommy back there, but Gavin, he hasn't got a lot of reps, but when he does, he always shows out, so I'm not worried about that. But corners, we have Harrison back there, and he's a little iffy at times, but usually he does pretty good. Obviously, has to go with the bad. We don't have another corner linebackers.
Maybe some of the JV guys will bump up, help you up.
Yeah, I think we have. How is our JV team? Because I see a few promising guys on that team.
Yeah, there's some potential.
But are they going to move up to fill the positions that they need to fill?
That's a good question. Obviously, every team loses guys at the end, especially in high school. But the JV, they actually had a great season, a few great stars. You have Tom and Amari solidifying that backfield. You got Nick as a great safety, hard hitter coming down. And Ty. He's definitely one of those corners that's like, even though he might be small, he might not be as physical, he can
He gets the job done. He's fast too.
Exactly. He might not be able to compete with the jump balls every time, but he can definitely show out when you need to break up 4th and long. He'll get it.
What do you think's the biggest position that you need filled on your team?
I feel like it's corner, because offensive wise, we're a run heavy team. We're not really worried about passing balls much. So
maybe you should be.
We should be, but we don't. We have a few receivers. We had a quarterback, but defensively is where we always. Offensively, we struggle, but defensively is where we need to pick up.
Defense wins games, 100%.
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially here when offense can't really put ball in the ends every time.
Sometimes it is a struggle for the Austin team to throw the ball and put it in the end zone, but you get it there eventually.
Exactly.
With the two seniors, Nick and Rob, stepping away, obviously going on, who's going to be filling our quarterback position?
We have Shalin. He's definitely he has a great arm, great accuracy. Decision making is pretty good. I think, he just needs to accustom himself to the speed of the varsity game, because it's definitely different from a JV standpoint. JV is a little bit slower, a little bit more relaxed. Whereas varsity is always high intensity, high, fast paced. You have to be able to make multiple decisions on the fly, whether you're running or throwing.
The JV team was almost undefeated this year, right?
Undefeated, yeah.
I think losing one game?
Two. No, one, I believe. 1 or 2.
I believe it was 1. Obviously, a lot of promise from the younger guys. Definitely great coaching going down at that level.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully, in the next few years, they come up, they fill some spots, and we pick up some of our lost momentum.
I mean, I feel like we don't really lose momentum. We just struggle to gain it. We'll always have a few good plays, but then it's just after that kind of struggle.
So what do you think you could do better to keep that momentum rolling throughout the game?
Stop the dumb penalties. The false starts, the holding. Obviously holding's going to come, but the false starts.
Fine tuning.
Yeah. False starts is what kills us most of the time. Losing 5-10 yards because the guy can't remember the count is not really acceptable. Especially from a standpoint where you've been playing for multiple years. It's like,
yeah, I'm sure coach isn't happy about that either.
Oh, trust me.
Discipline, of course.
That's for the soccer team. definitely one of the better spots in Austin.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We had three
Boys
soccer
soccer
teams.
and girls soccer are both fantastic.
They're both making the playoffs.
Of course, we had three boys soccer teams. We had JV A and B squads.
Hmm.
The JVB squad actually, I believe, only lost one game,
No, I did not know that. That's
or
impressive.
they were undefeated. It was either one game. We lost one game, which is obviously not a lot is heard. JV one really overshadowed by varsity, and JVB really overshadowed by JVA and varsity, right? But that team's going undefeated, and they were playing against some regular JV teams.
Good schools
around the schools. Yeah, so there's a lot of promise coming from mostly a freshman team, right? Our JVA team did very well as well, and obviously our soccer team, our varsity, was ranked third in the section for a period of time.
Girls soccer team this year was doing great too.
Yeah, lights out play style. Even when they were playing the bigger schools, they definitely, even though they might have been down, obviously 2-3 scores at one point, they still kept the fight.
I think soccer next year looks very promising for Austin.
Yeah. I think, it's always looked promising, but I think next year, we can definitely do something.
Next year looks good.
I think what's happened is obviously if you drive around the high school at any point of time after school, the lower field is completely flooded with playing soccer, and you're like, why don't any of those kids play soccer? I think more and more of them are now playing soccer for the schools and clubs and everything like that. Right, so soccer's always been a huge part
soccer's
of Austin
definitely
culture.
a sport that people are very passionate about, which makes them play better.
Yeah, and we have more of those players coming into this level, right, our high school level. So hopefully we'll see more success there, for sure.
What do you think about the freshman goalkeeper for varsity? I think he's the bright spot.
Somerville. Well, aside from the neon green jersey, yes, I think he is a very bright spot on the
Promising,
team.
yeah. I think next year he's really going to show out and show like how he can be such a dominant goalie in the game.
And he's going to be healthy next year.
Yeah.
Because I know he played with an ankle injury towards the end of it. Definitely didn't help, but he still got up there, on those high shots. He got up there, got the ball.
No, for sure. I think as he grows, more into an upperclassman, we'll see him take more command of the field, right? We had a great group of seniors leading this team this year, right? But as the goalie, in most sports that have goalies, you're really the mouthpiece of your team. You need to be directing traffic, right? And with a game as spread out as soccer, right, you need to have a very strong sense of field IQ and game IQ, right? So as he grows, I think we'll have a great understanding of how he moves into that spotlight. But obviously, had a great season, absolute wall in goal. So.
Yeah. It's always the guy sports that get highlighted. Throughout the school, I feel like it's definitely what we focus on most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the girls' soccer team and their goalie? Like, I know we're staying on goal. I know goalies, but
goalies need some love. Goalies don't get enough
Yeah,
love.
they
Goalies need some love.
Never defense either.
No, never defense.
Defense in every sport never gets love.
Mm-mm.
Their goalie definitely is one of the better goalies I think I've ever seen. It's hard. It's rare that she ever lets a shot get past her. Ever. So it's like, how do they fill in that role with her being gone?
Well, I feel like they're gonna have to bump some people up from JV. They're gonna have to have people that are willing to step up and take that position and take that jump. Because of course, when playing sports, you can't be scared to take that leap and step up and fill that position of someone like who was so great, such as their goalie.
Yeah.
We also had other fall sports that went on kind of unnoticed. We had field hockey. We had girls tennis.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I love that.
I can't say I was following it. I don't know how that season went, but field hockey I think did well. They made the playoffs. They made the
playoffs, first or second round, but still.
Always good to see teams in the playoffs here, especially for sports that aren't crazy well known around here. But if we have good teams in it, then obviously they deserve a little more attention. So we'll give that. Speaking of good teams, wrestling had quite a few nominations last year for wrestlers. So how are you guys taking that into this year?
Well, of course, we lost some seniors this year, so it's tough. A lot of guys had to jump up, fill that role. Like we have a freshman starting 118 on varsity. I believe he's 2-4 right now, which isn't the worst. But he's getting there. He's learning. He's working hard. What our theme is this year is burn the boat, right?
Burn the boat.
Yep.
What does that mean?
What is that? Yeah, explain that mentality to us.
Quick, explain it. A bunch of settlers came to this island for a better life. and they didn't want to go back to what they used to, so they burned the boats.
Burn the boats.
So make that jump, make that leap, and really be competitive.
It's kind of like forget what happened in the past.
Exactly. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep taking that leap. You can't have that safety net to go back to what you know. You have to keep fighting and getting like stronger in that new area that you don't like. You're not comfortable in.
You know, like once you take the risk, you know, once you step on it, you guys go with it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. You know, I feel like not a lot of people have that mentality, especially when it comes to wrestling or any sport. Really.
Sports in general, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like they get comfortable and they're like, okay, like they're comfortable with how it used to be. You know, maybe like before they got to like a certain level, like varsity, like okay, I can relax a little bit. But when you say burn the boat, definitely it's like, oh wow, like I have to like really learn to step up. I can't just relax and be my usual norm.
Exactly. That boat is that safety net, so you could go back to where you came, but you can't have that safety net. You have to be able to take that leap and fight forward and keep going.
I think coaches bringing kind of mentality like that to a team can be very helpful, right? Because if you start a season, and you're just kind of like trying to make it work. You can have some success, but as a coach, if you bring your team together with an idea, a philosophy, right, a mentality that your team adopts, I think that can bring great success. And hopefully that works out for you guys in the season.
Yeah.
I see you guys in practice.
Working hard.
Hard.
What do you think about seniors? Like seniors leaving, obviously they play a key role when they do play, but what do you think of like their impact after they leave?
That's tough. Seniors definitely bring like the heart and soul to the team, especially if they've been playing all 4 years throughout high school. Like Tristan, he's been wrestling since he was in 7th grade on varsity. He's a star on the wrestling team. He's great. He's an idol. Everybody on the team looks up to him. He's really cool. He's good. He went to states last year, didn't place. Looking to place this year. I think he could do it. Devin also 6-0, I believe. He's killing it this year. So I think with the loss of seniors like next year and this year, the team morale has been, I'm not gonna say low, but filling that position has been a jump that people still need to take. Like me personally, I know that I need to take that step and like really fill in for my team and get 6 points when I go out there on the mat. And for AJ, you play lacrosse too, so how does that affect you when your seniors leave?
So we had a few seniors leave this year.
Was one of them Vincent? You know.
Yep, we had Vinny. We had Gianni and Malik, right? So key weapons on offense and a great defensive leader. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we're doing some work in the off. Excuse me, the off season. To see, it's good to see our new seniors stepping into those roles. We have lower number of defensive players, right? So we're going to have to work more of it as a cohesive unit, but eventually we'll see in the spring.
All right, sounds good.
Right, so that's our second